Hello and welcome back. I'm Sadaf and in today's video I'm talking about anxiety, the famous anxiety which stops you from doing your day-to-day activities, and sometimes it even stops you from living your life, especially because those day-to-day activities are certainly tasks that you depend on, and you can't really stop working, you can't really stop going out, you can't stop seeing people and other such things. But when anxiety kicks in, it takes away from you the ability to live your life normally, the way that you would like to live or the way you should be living. So since personally I am not an anxious person, but I have been struggling with it in the past few months, I have really studied it to see what is it that's going on and how can I handle it in a proper manner. And every single thing that I'm going to share in this video comes from the book Unwinding Anxiety, which I read recently by Judson Brewer, and I found it extremely helpful because just like its title, it actually helped me unwind the anxiety that I was having and understand where it was stemming from. So in this video, I will be sharing with you the 6 steps that have helped me deal with my anxiety and handle it properly, like without having to consult someone and without having to take medication, but simply focus on it and heal it in a proper manner, in a natural manner. Because I believe that when you learn to manage your own emotions, that is how you feel that you are in charge of yourself and your life and your emotions. Then you do not feel the need to cope with those emotions with other things such as food or alcohol or maybe overworking or other such stuff. So just to give you an idea, these 6 steps are mindful pause, getting curious, mindful breathing, loving kindness, challenging your thoughts, and becoming immune to failure. And without further ado, let's get started. But if you are new to my channel, welcome. I'm Sadaf and I talk about various topics related to habits, goals, mental health and confidence and all of such stuff. So if you are interested in those topics, please subscribe to my channel and let's get started. So before we get started, I just want you to understand that there is a difference between our emotional reactions and our rational thoughts. And you will feel that even if I tell you rational things about you need to do this and that, as soon as you start getting anxious, you feel that your rational process does not work anymore and you have a tendency to respond with emotions. So that emotional reaction becomes way more prevalent and it takes over actually, and that's why most of the time, in order to cope with our emotions, we have a tendency to start eating and maybe eating more and eating unhealthy, or maybe going and smoking and doing other such things which can be unhealthy. Whereas the steps that I'm sharing in this video are more focused towards mindfulness and focusing on the reasons of your anxiety and the underlying beliefs that you hold about your anxiety and the habit loops that you have formed around your anxiety. So we are going to explore all of this, and let's get started with the step number 1, which is mindful pause. Now, mindful pause is all about stopping in the moment when you realize that you are having this stress that is increasing, that you are feeling this anxiety building up within you. And in that moment, you stop yourself and you start observing your thoughts. You start observing your own self. How are you reacting? How are you feeling in your body? And you do all of this as an outsider, as if you don't even own yourself, as if you are someone who is from the outside and who is just observing you. What is it that you are doing in that moment? What is it that you are feeling? How are you breathing? How are you feeling that in your body? And all of this is going to put a halt on the anxiety, and it is going to make you think about your anxiety. And honestly, I have done this and I have felt that already in this step, I felt that I could manage my anxiety. I could take hold of it because I felt that I had put my anxiety on a stop and I was focusing on something else, which was being mindful of the situation, of the environment, of myself. And that helped me shift my attention from that feeling of anxiety towards something which was neutral, and I did not relate to myself as someone close to myself, but instead I was watching myself as an outsider. And that was a very big shift for me, and it really helped me take control of my anxiety. So the next time you start feeling anxious, stop right there, start observing your thoughts and start observing your breathing patterns and all of that, and you will see that it is going to calm you down. So in this same step, it is also very important to allow the anxiety to be and just become accepting of it, because every single time that we have a negative emotion or an emotion which is associated with negativity, such as anger or sadness or anxiety, we don't even want to feel that, and we have a tendency to push that away. And that's how I felt too. And I would take myself towards someone else, and I would start busying myself with some other task simply to shift my attention, which was not right. And the only way to heal an emotion is to allow your body to feel it. And by accepting that you are feeling anxious and this is how you are feeling in your body, you are allowing that emotion to exist. You are not resisting it, but instead you are giving it its place. And that makes a lot of difference. So when I did that, I felt that I had a lot of heaviness around my shoulders. I also felt that I felt heavy around my heart area. I felt some numbness in some parts of my body and tiredness in my legs, and all of that helped me become aware of my body and become aware of my emotions and how I was reacting to them, and it really helped me in taking my anxiety into control. So start with this step first, and then you move towards the next step, which is getting curious. The good thing about mindfulness is that instead of obscuring the real reasons of anxiety, you are actually focusing on them, and this step is all about that. So when you are getting curious, still as an outsider, not as yourself but as an observer, you are asking yourself, what is it that I am feeling, and where is it that these feelings are coming from? How do I feel in my body? So in the first step, it was simply observing yourself, but now it is all about questioning yourself on all of these feelings. Where are these coming from? When was the first time that I felt such feelings? What are the underlying beliefs about all these situations? One thing that is extremely important to notice here is that you should not have any kind of judgment or criticism towards yourself in this step, and even later on, you will never be judgmental or critical towards yourself, because that is the worst thing you can do when you are already feeling anxious. So the word curiosity perfectly fits this step, because it is all about noticing your thoughts. It is all about noticing all those feelings that you are feeling all over your body, but it is not about controlling or changing anything, and it is not about telling yourself how you should be feeling or how you should not be feeling, because that is the worst thing that we do to ourselves, by telling ourselves that this is not right to feel right now, all other people do not feel this way, why am I feeling like this is not the right time to feel this way, and all of that. So instead, just allow it to be, and at the same time ask yourself the right questions. And now the next step is mindful breathing, and in this step you are going to start focusing on your breathing. You will notice that when you are anxious, you do not breathe the way you should be breathing. Like, we start breathing very superficially. So even though I will not be sharing breathing techniques here, I think that every single person has a different way of breathing, and there are different things that suit to different people. Even in terms of breathing, I personally really like to breathe profoundly and deeply and allow myself the time to just stop and take that time of anxiety when I am feeling stressed over something. Instead of focusing on that stress or on those emotions, I start focusing on my breathing, and I make it as profound as I can. I make it as slower as I can as well, and that allows allows me to fuel my body, and that gives me energy to be able to further observe my thoughts, and instead of reacting to those emotions, maybe just take some time and be this observant person that I need to be in that time. But the good thing about breathing is also that it instantly takes your attention away from anxiety towards something else, which is nurturing, of course, for your body, for your soul, and at the same time it is going to disarm the anxiety. It takes the entire force or power away from anxiety, and it gives you the control of the situation. And that is the best part about this process. I felt that the fact that you can apply these steps in any situation, if you are anywhere in the world, you can use mindfulness in that moment, in that time, instead of having to buy something to eat or having to take a cigarette or anything like that. You simply bring your awareness back to yourself, and then you start doing all these exercises that are going to take you into the root causes of anxiety, and at the same time you are fueling your body. So this is a very empowering process. The next step is loving kindness, and at this point you are going to give yourself as much kindness as you can. Why is this important? Loving kindness is a powerful antidote to anxiety because it gives you the kindness, the love, the acceptance that you need in that moment of anxiety. Because if we are honest, most of the time anxiety comes from the feeling of being incapable, from the feeling of your inability in the face of a certain situation, whether it is social anxiety with people or if it is related to some other situation that is maybe out of your comfort zone. No matter what it is, most of the time it is simply because of the fact that you feel incapable. And when you are giving yourself this kindness, you are accepting yourself, you are loving yourself without judging yourself. Also, it is going to bring a lot of relaxation to your overall body. And when I was doing the research for this video, I even learned that through scientific researches, they have come to see that it even slows the aging process, and it also strengthens your brain functions and reduces migraines. So with all of these benefits, and especially because I feel that there is a lot of need of this kindness in the moments of anxiety, and you cannot always get that from the outside, and you should not even be focused towards other people to give you that kind of loving kindness, because they don't know when you are feeling anxious. You do, and they are not always with you, but you are. So it's important in those moments to give yourself that same kind of kindness, whether that is by your internal dialogue, or it is by reading a certain love letter that you have written for yourself, or it is simply by telling yourself some other positive affirmations that you have maybe recorded on your phone, or maybe not, but simply by being non-judgmental towards yourself, not comparing yourself with others, and just accepting yourself the way you are. Because the same situation that you are facing today, maybe for some other person it can be a no-brainer and it can be extremely simple, but for you, if that is something that is not easy, it certainly comes from the fact that there is some history to that, there is some context to that, but all of that only you know, and you know yourself best. So instead of worrying too much about that comparison, just allow yourself to be, and just allow yourself to love yourself in those moments when you need yourself most. Step number 5 is to challenge your thoughts. Now, this is the time when you can finally start asking yourself questions like, how likely is this outcome to happen? How can I prevent that outcome from happening? Because if you are worried of something, how can you prevent that? How can you prepare for that? How can you avoid a situation like that? So asking yourself the right questions are going to help you in this step to make sense of that situation, and also it is going to help you prepare better for the next time. And here I would like to also add another question, which is, how is your anxiety going to affect your response to that situation? Because mostly stress or anxiety or such other feelings are only affecting our reactions, our behaviors negatively. And instead of allowing that to happen, it's very important for you to ask yourself this question and then just allow that anxiety to be, and just take action regardless of that anxiety. That is extremely helpful, especially if you are building your muscle of getting out of your comfort zone. The last step is to become immune to failure. And of course, I do not want you to start failing publicly, because that will be even more anxiety inducing. But instead of that, just start playing little games on your phone, or maybe at home with your kids or with other people that maybe you are not good at, but failing at those little games, and then later on seeing how you react to that, and then adapting this reaction. Like if you are too criticizing or towards yourself, then start being a little more loving, start being a little more kind, start allowing yourself to fail. And the more you fail, the better you are going to handle your failure, and learn to fail a little more even outside of your home. I also think that people who fail more are a lot more resilient in life, because they have built this muscle of failing and then just getting back up. And that is extremely important for us to learn as well. That is it for all of these 6 steps. I hope that they have been helpful to you. I hope that they are going to help you handle your anxiety better the next time. If yes, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hopefully I will see you in my next video. Until then, keep excelling. Bye.